Good morning, everybody. Today is Monday, September 30th. I have a few announcements for you before I talk about the plan for the week. And those announcements are about some resources that I added to Blackboard. So I'm going to start my video here with the video camera on my Blackboard page. I know there's a fancier way to do this, but I don't know what that is. So bear with me. I'm going to kind of show you what these resources are. The first is about your deep dive. We've had lots of questions about the deep dive, and to answer those questions and to further support you, I added a whole link. It's over here on the left-hand side under deep dives, which you can click on your Blackboard page. You'll notice at the top that I provided an overview and outline of the deep dive. This is directly from the syllabus. Nothing's changed here, but I pulled it out so it's easier for you to see. And then I highlighted this comment about seeking feedback from one peer prior to submitting the final deep dive. It's really important, y'all, and that's what you should be thinking about at this point. Your deep dive is due a week from Friday. So this week would be a great time to start drafting out your your deep dive, and then get it to a peer by, say, Friday of this week. That'll give them a couple days to look at it, and then give you a few days to incorporate their feedback. So make sure you read this very carefully about what is expected on the deep dive itself and what's expected from the peer feedback. Last but not least, I want you to notice that I'm asking you to include a memo to me. This is called a student to teacher memo when you submit your final draft that explains exactly how you improved your paper based on the feedback you received from your peer. I'm also asking that you tell me in your memo which part of your paper you feel is strongest and the part of your paper that you are not so sure of, maybe the part of your paper that you feel I could provide some feedback for you. So make sure you read these instructions very carefully as you're crafting your deep dive for this week. Now, scrolling down for our deep dive page, you'll see that I provided an entire section on the deep dive peer review. Let me pull this down a little bit. You're not going to be able to read it with a shaky camera on it, but just know that this is here. This provides specific instructions about the peer feedback process, about submitting a draft to your peer and submitting the deep dive rubric to them. I'm asking them to use the deep dive rubric in their assessment. Okay, the rubric is attached below. So this explains the rubric, the peer feedback, and that student to teacher memo that I just mentioned. Okay, so this is all on our deep dive page. Here's the rubric. Make sure you take a look at this rubric as you're crafting your deep dive and then submit a draft of the rubric to your peer. And then lastly, at the bottom of this deep dive section, I provided a list of all the topics we have covered so far or will cover by next week. Now, I think next week is a little bit late, but this list of topics is a great place to start if you're feeling pretty clueless about your deep dive. Keep in mind, any of these topics can be divided up, can be adapted to fit your particular interest. This is just a starting point, but these are the topics that we've been covered in our investigations and would be a great place for you to start. Okay, everybody, so that's looking at your deep dive resource on Blackboard. Okay, I want you to keep in mind that that is there. Now, I want you to know about another resource that I added, and this is the outline for your final program plan. Okay, so over on the left-hand side, it says Final Program Plan. Okay, and this gives you the exact information you need about your final document and presentation that'll be presented at the end of the semester. Now, I'm giving this to you now because we will not have time in class. We'll have a couple days towards the end of the semester, but at this point we will not be having enough time in class for you to create the final program plan. You'll have to work with your group outside of class. Now, your Friday out and about time is an excellent time to touch base with your final program plan. Okay, oftentimes those out and abouts do not take the entire class period, and so it'd be a great time to work on your program plan. So I'm not going to read this to you right now, but I want you to take a look at this resource. This provides you the outline for the oral proposal, the program plan document, and then all of the sections or parts that will be in your final document. Okay? There are, I think, 4 different sections that'll be in your final document. Now keep in mind, we'll be working through those sections in class. In fact, you'll probably create drafts of just about every section over the course of the semester, but you'll need to work with your group to make the draft final and in presentable condition. So know that that is there. I'll continue to direct you towards that. All right, last but not least, I'm going to go up to the content page here really quick. Our content for this week is in, oops, looks like I need to release it still. I will do that for you. It's content 2.3, and we're going to start talking about this notion of quality. Okay, bunches of key terms that are going to be thrown at you this week, and this reading in particular. This reading is called Quality at the Point of Service. This, y'all, is a journal article, meaning it's a scientific research article that it will be a little bit different than some of the reading you've done. But some key terms that I want you to listen for. This notion of quality is a term we'll talk about in class today. Also, this idea of point of service. Okay, so we're going to be talking about what the point of service is and why it's important. You will also start to think about what quality looks like in programs for college students. Another way to understand quality is in terms of best practices. Okay, so we'll be talking about that this week. So your readings are this journal article, this quality, at the point of service. This short piece, Student Programming for Generation Next. Okay, that'll give us some of our best practice information. And then last but not least, this is just for fun. This is not part of your content, but if you want to start generating some ideas for student programs, I found a great website from UIC Chicago and an article outlining lots of different activities from around the country. So if your group has not started to brainstorm some ideas for your program, you might start poking around some of these resources. All right, everybody, that's it for my video. I'm sorry I don't get to see my shining face and just have to look at boring Blackboard, but look forward to seeing you in class in a little bit. Bye now.